Good evening, everybody. And on behalf of the Chairman and members of the Parish Council, welcome and thank you for coming to our village VJ Day ceremony. Before we start, quick vote of thanks to Martin, to Chris and the members of the Southampton Town Band for supporting us. Some 80 years ago, on the 8th of May 1945, the nation celebrated the end of the war in Europe. The war against fascism and the fanatical scourge of Nazism. But the war was to continue in the Far East. The Second World War didn't end on the 8th of May. War still raged in the Far East against an implacable Imperial Japan, and it was to continue until August later that same year. Many of us here today will have relatives past and present who were intimately involved in all of these events. The final cessation of hostilities in the Far East came on the 15th of August and became known as VJ Day. It's entirely appropriate, therefore, to remember those men and women who had to fight on. Slim's 14th Army, the Forgotten Army, a Commonwealth force that included the men of the 1st Battalion, the Devonshire Regiment, many of whom were recruited from the towns and villages of North Devon. These men fought in the jungles of India and Burma, enduring terrible privations, a lack of supplies, the jungle, awful weather, challenging topography, and the ever-present threat of tropical disease. The sailors and aviators of the British Pacific and East India fleets, the biggest and most powerful maritime force ever put to sea by this great seafaring nation, and the RAF's Far East Air Force, who did so much both to fight the Japs and maintain tortuous air supply lines that stretched for thousands of miles. The Japanese surrender was met with universal relief and celebration after 6 long years of war. While millions took part in the celebrations and street parties, there was also great sadness, for the human cost had been enormous, and many waited for the long-awaited return of loved ones. There were 90,000 British casualties, over 30,000 died, and almost 40,000 ended up as POWs of the Japs, kept in the most barbaric conditions. For hundreds and thousands of British and Commonwealth servicemen and women, it would take months for them to be reunited with families and loved ones, some of whom they had not seen for more than 5 years. Could I please ask you to stand in silence and for our ex-military colleagues to come to attention as we read out the names of some of the people who died fighting Japanese forces in the Far East and whose relatives live in our village today. Private Ivan Henry Tucker, number 1 Commando and the Devonshire Regiment, Anthony Tucker's uncle. Private Robert Carter, the Sherwood Foresters, Jean Harris's uncle. Private Hubert Judd, 2nd Battalion, the Welsh Regiment, Lorraine Pelthorpe's great uncle. Sergeant Jack Wilcox, Somerset Light Infantry, Chris Willis's